What's up guys, Strifix here, going to bring you another video. So what we're going to be looking at today is scouting in ZVT. If you haven't watched, I've given the build order that I feel is probably the best for starting out. What we're going to do, we're going to capitalize on that and look at some replays of pro gamers and kind of talk about some of the scouting. I'm going to go over to general view and then we're going to look at some of the games of the pro players and see how they adjust based on what they see. So guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to move this over here. Got my drink ready and I'm going to jump up in here, and we've got a few games. The first game we're going to look at is Zerg. And first I'm going to generalize this at the start, and we're going to kind of look at what he says, or not what he says, but what we're looking at is how does he play. And we'll go from there. So all right, let's go ahead and jump into this game. It was against Uthermal here. I'm going to put it on his view. So going back to scouting, there's two things that you need to know about scouting with Zerg. One, your first one is like round 345 to 4 minutes. Your first Overlord scout. Now, if you do the build that I'm talking about, you're going to have Overlord speed and you're able to scout everything fairly, pretty much guaranteed. It's going to be easily, you're going to be able to scout their entire base on their side. If you don't, then it's pretty obvious what they're doing. More likely, if the Terran stops you, then chances are he's got a bunch of barracks. And it would take a certain amount of Marines to stop it. And even then, if you pay attention while you're scouting, then you're pretty much going to still be able to scout, but it's going to be obvious, like, oh, he's got a lot of racks. This isn't going to be medevac. It ain't going to be this. It's just Marines from there. So that's one view you're going to be looking at. If you can't scout. And that's the only thing that I really can think of that will stop you straight up from scouting. Everything else is not going to kill it quick enough to probably stop you from scouting without, I mean, pretty much all of it. If it stops you, it's going to give away what their build are or is. But there's going to be very rare builds that you're going to see. Sorry, nose is itching. That you're going to see. So that is your first one. It's at 4 minutes. Now, to determine, unless you can tell earlier or you get some kind of win by something that gives it away, the other thing is that if you're unsure if it's mech or bio, 6 minutes is the next time that you float in or try to float in with an Overlord, or you use a Ling. You try to get an idea, are they going mech or they're going bio? That's around that mark that you need to know. So 4 minutes is your primary main first scouting, and 6 minutes is going to tell you if it's bio or mech if you're unsure at this point. So remember those twos. Those are your two key ones. Now you can scout throughout the rest of the game if you choose to, especially with the speed Overlords. So we're just going to speed this up. Cyril plays a standard game. He does a little bit different build than what I'm talked about, but it's kind of similar. Except he doesn't go Overlord speed in these games. I did glance at him. But he does this 21. Actually, he doesn't make a Overlord on 20. Instead, he drones up to 21. He sends the 21st drone to the third, and then he decides if he's going to get speed or going to take the third. And he overlords right before he makes that. So he's actually overlording, I think. Basically, he goes, let's see, there's to 21. He's going to make 4 Lings, 2 Queens, and then he's going to overlord next, and then he'll make the hatchery if he decides to. And there's the hatchery, and that's pretty much his build from there. And even he started speed first, so roughly his build is, and he's cut it a little bit here, but roughly he's getting that hatchery down around 235-ish, 230, somewhere around in there. And he'll make his queen there. He has the ability to make one here because he doesn't go overlord speed. Alright, so primarily where I want to focus, this video is the focus right here. So this is where we're looking at. And here I think he was a little bit late. There he goes. Usually you want to start before 4 minutes, but no later than 4 minutes. So he had a lot going on in his base at that time. And yeah, even Cyril slips slightly. Most of the time you're going to see games. The other game's probably going to be earlier than this, but he's going to float in at 4 minutes, and notice his pathing. He's looking at the main first, then he's trying to float down at the ramp. Now this is a sacrificial Overlord. It doesn't have speed. He knows it's pretty much going to die to get his scout. If he gets out of there, then that's amazing. It's a big win. So do notice he's going to make an additional, he should be making additional, yeah, there it is, 2 Overlords, because he's going to lose this one. And he notices a 3rd CC. So what did he scout? This is where on here he scouts a third CC, a tech lab on the starport, a Rax, and he can pretty much assume that there's going to be reactored Hellions, right? Most likely it's reactored Hellions. Usually there's always a reactor here from there. So this is the point that I want to talk about. So when you're scouting with your Overlord, there's a lot of different builds you're going to see. You're going to see, you know, reactor Hellions, barracks, and maybe no starport. Maybe you say a reactor, sorry, I said Hellions, but reactored factories with Hellions. A tech lab on a starport like this, and then barracks with nothing. You could see reactored factory, starport with no tech lab and something building on it, and then a tech lab on the starport or on the barracks, and it might be upgrading something. If it's upgrading something, sometimes that can be a trigger that it looks like it's going to be bio. It could be STEM, and be like a marine medevac and Hellbat timing, with possibly, you know, a hidden armory back through here, possibly somewhere from here. So there's a lot of different builds. Them are the most common. There is like the 2-1-1, and there's, I'm not going to tell you, I'll give you a little bit like brief idea, and this is why I'm showing instead of telling you. There, I have certain adjustments that I like, but you got to find the adjustments that you like. Now each one of those, based on what you see, you can possibly be greedier or less greedy. Now from here, the safest way is always to go layer. Like you, once you scouted, you know, you always go layer at around 4 minutes. So we'd make our layer here. He does it around 4:30, a little bit later, and that's fine. And he's going to put down his spores at each mineral line, which we see. So he's just, Cyril's playing super safe. Now he does this, and legitimately by what he scouted is the correct way. But if you're unsure, the best way to not be greedy is basically you jump into a layer, just do your normal spores, just like the build that you've seen in the video. But if you want to be greedier, I'm going to show you some plays, and I'll give you a little bit of logic. For example, if this starport doesn't have a tech lab, the barracks maybe doesn't have a tech lab. Maybe the barracks has a tech lab and it's got the stem that I was talking about going, and then you got the factory with reactor Hellions. Well, that can be Hellbat, you know, stem Marines. You don't really need a layer to defeat that. There's nothing that follows up directly behind it that can throw you off guard. It's less likely that he's going to switch the starport onto the barracks unless he's just going to cancel the stem, but that's not likely from there. And plus, it would take a while before even the cloak and the banshees would come out. So naturally, queen lings with the speed, you know, double evo, and then bangling nest, and then a layer could be a little bit greedier play because you don't have to defend against anything with the idea of needing a layer. Now, because there's a tech lab on the starport, usually the safest bet is always to go into a layer. And there's reasons behind that. One of them is cloak banshee, so you can control the map a little bit and you don't have to keep your queens defensive the entire time. The other is there's always the threat of a battle cruiser. And if there's the threat of a battle cruiser without the ability to put down a spire, you can run into issues once there's 2 to 3 battle cruisers out. So you need that layer. If you delay that, chances are you can't get that. You can't even get, I wouldn't go Hydralist, but even if you wanted to go Hydralist, you couldn't even get that in time to deal with the battle cruisers by the time there's 2 out. Once 2's out, the Yamada upgrade is also done, and you're going to have a lot of trouble. So we want that spire before the second one gets out and the Yamada finishes to be able to get Corruptors or Mutalisk, whichever the choice is. From here, so that was his 4. Let's go up here. He's not going to be able to scout at 6, obviously. Let's just see how he plays out this first attack based on what he scouts. So he's got 4 queens up front, 1 at each hatchery, so that's a total of 6 queens. And that's what he's going to defend with, apparently. And he's just getting a creep out. He takes his 4th, and this is about the normal timing, about 5:20-ish. And he's keep pushing his creep tumors out, and that's a big key because he wants to be able to see it and be able to set up. Notice he's got his units back. He's expecting a timing at some point here. And what do you know? It's Cloak Banshees. So he pulled back. Now he knows it is Cloak Banshees. Now, still could be Hellbats with these Cloak Banshees. Still can be Hellions. If we look over here, there's the Hellbats right here. So this is Banshee Hellion, or Hellbat, sorry. So he's going to pull back. He makes a few Banes. And this is actually very similar. There was a game with, I think he versed Maru or somebody. And this was a kind of a similar opening that Maru used, and this is kind of identical to the defense. Defense, except he's got more Banes, mainly because there's more, Hellbats. So he's making extra Banes. He's going to bring the Queens forth. He's going to try not to lose that. These drones, he's going to pull them. The key is not to lose the drones and use the Banes in case these bunch up. Hellbats are amazing when they're bunched up against Lings. They're bad against Banes if they're bunched up. So this becomes a little bit of a dance off a little bit here. So let's see what Cyril does. This is the first attack based on what he scout. Comes in, nice hits. Nice Bane hits again. Gonna use the Queens here. Nice Bane hits. Notice he sends in the Banes when they're clumped up. Clean defense, just uses Queens only. He is taking a little bit of damage here over at the Banshees. That's part of the thing, but the main focus is he can't lose everything here. And there's only one Banshee left. Yes, it's got a few kills. The key is to survive. He lost no drones over here. He's only lost 4, and he's cleaned up this entire attack. And to be honest, that was quite a bit of Hellbats. So there's not going to be much bio. The stem's going to be later as well, possibly. The barracks are going to be later. If you look up here, we can also see in the production tab, the barracks are also going to be later. So he's going to get some breathing room cleaning this up. Now, he's got Lings. He could go across here with the fact, but instead he's going to use this to clean up. And that's it. After this, that's the initial point of the scouting, is to know what's going on. Now, he could send over here and figure out it's, mech or bio. There's more over here. This is going to be actually nice pickup here from Thermal, but from here, he's just pulling the Queens. He's going to deal with it. And sticking with Ling Bane. And, nope, I missed it, but he came over here with something, maybe? Here we go. Let's see what happened over here. Because I'm curious if he's able to determine if it was mech or... Alright, this is his scout, so I think now he's trying to determine, is this mech or bio? 2 medevacs, it's going to be bio. So he gets to scout with the 1 Ling, so he knows it's bio. And that's all there is pretty much to that game. So let's go into the next one. So this one, he's seen Starport with Tech Lab. So let's go ahead. We're going to jump into about 4 replays here and kind of talk about the scouting. Let's look at this one. Actually, I think there's 3 of Cyril that I'm going to glance at. And we're just going to speed it right on up to the 4-minute mark again. You're going to notice this consistency between the Zergs are close to the 4-minute mark. We'll get about 3:30. Here we go. He's just going with that. He's going to go up to 21 again. See if he takes the 3rd. Nope, he's going with the speed first, and he's going to take the 3rd at 2:30 again. Similar to last game, notice that they're very robotic with their builds. How they decide to do it. There we go, we're at 3:45, so let's watch this Overlord here. Swarm forces under attack. Now this is ×2, so alright, so here we go. Here comes the Marine. Actually he's on rally, but then he notices it. He notices 3rd CC. Viking. Viking out this quick means that it's a starport without the tech lab. Then he comes over here and he can see the starport, but he can't see the barracks, and there's no tech lab and something's being built. So this is most likely probably not a 2nd Viking. It's more likely a Liberator. So this is looking like a Hellion Liberator into a 3cc kind of build, and probably, it could be mech or bio from there. So let's see how it plays out. Let's see how he adjusts. Notice he's getting out that creep spread. Got the Queens. He's making a few more Lings. He's got just enough Lings. 15, 16. Here comes the Viking. Trying to get a scout a little bit earlier 4th this game than the last game, honestly. And there's the lair. So he still goes lair at about 4:30, it looks like. He delays it a little. Actually, yeah, he delays it a little bit more in this game. But he's scared of the possibility of there probably could still be a switch even after a Liberator into 2 Banshees. That possibility is there. He did not get to confirm it, and Cyril plays super safe, so he delayed it a little bit because he knew the Liberator was looked like it was being built on the starport, and it still could be a fake. He could cancel it and then switch it to the tech lab to make it look like he was doing that. Cyril being Cyril is going to play it safe though. Still goes to layer. Gonna make the links. He's going up to 19. Looks like 20. He makes a few Banes from here, making 3 of them because of the Hellions. Looking like Hellbat. Liberator combination possibly here. There's the Liberator actually. Uses the Queens to draw zone him out. Notice how he's slowly doing this. Now this could cause some problems here. Oh, he just lost another one. He's going to lose a few more because he's controlling over here. And it actually went decent for... There now. Part of the reason he was able to get that off is actually there's no Spore over here. He did not get the Spore down over here that he could reposition, or it would have been easier for Cyril to probably clean up. But yeah, noticed a few Banes expecting Hellbats. There's Lings. Took a little bit of a damage from a minor mistake. And he's just cleaning up tumors, so this kind of makes you think, well, maybe it ain't Hellbats. From there. And that's all there is to it on that one. So that's kind of his adjustment. He hasn't scouted to know if it's Marines or Bio, but if we look, I bet this is some kind of... I think this was the game that he loses. Here we go. It's going to be like Marines. And it's a pretty strong aggression from the Terran that Cyril wasn't ready for. Doesn't have the Bane speed. Going to lose majority of his Banes. If we look at the lost tab, it's not good for him here. And that creep was back so far. And it's just too much for him. Good splitting. From there, it wasn't as much the scouting to me as it was that... yeah, he took a little bit of damage from that. He kind of went up there and lost a lot of Banes with slow Banes, thinking that he had to fight off the creep. And that was a little bit of a mistake. I don't think it was as much as scouting. So let's go up here. There is another one of Cyril. Let's go ahead and watch it. We're just going to go through here and notice the adjustment didn't really change there. The reason why is he didn't get a full scout, I feel like. And let's see what Cyril does here. So we're going to just speed it up to 345. This build isn't going to change as Cyril here. There's the third hatch. It's going to get speed shortly after. There's the speed. Go up to about 345 here. Alright, let's see. Here is the Overlord. And he will be floating this in pretty soon here. There it goes, 350. He's kicking it in. Queen birth successful. It's ×2, by the way. So he sees reactor. So we see a factory or reactor. We see a tech lab on the barracks. And then we see a Viking coming out. Now this could be a swap. Nothing else is being built yet. There's the third CC. And now we see something else being built here. But nothing coming out of this tech lab. So it could be a fake into a swap. So I guarantee you Cyril probably still going to get his layer. Probably at, what was it, like 445 to 450-ish. Let's see what he does. Yep, he still gets it at like 440 here. And he's still going to make the same amount of lings. Most likely as he did in the other ones. More lings being made. Here we go. He usually goes up to quite close to what, 20-ish. There we go. There's 15. There's the Hellions. Making 2 Banglings. He's going to probably make more as well. And going to try to hold this off with the Queen and Bane. Only problem here is that U-Therm will actually come behind enemy lines. And now getting out will not be easy unless he does got this option to go. But now he's got queens chasing him. So if he goes over here, he can get them all stuck in hopes of trying to get more drones. And he's getting some drones here, but he's also trading not as good, which goes in Cyril's favor. And in return, Cyril goes to Spire in this game. After seeing that. So this game, you know, he sees the tech lab. I think the Liberator hit as well. Let's see, did the Liberator hit anywhere? Should have been a Liberator, I think, somewhere. Did it die? Looking for it, I don't see it. Did he cancel that Liberator? Oh, surely he made the Liberator. Let's go back and see. That Liberator died somewhere. There it is. Let's follow this Liberator. That was the one thing up. That's the one thing I didn't follow. His queens are out front. He's going to pick that up with the 3 queens. This could have went better if this attack was synced up actually better by Euthermal, I feel like. He went a little bit quick with the Liberator. So the 3 queens over here was able to clean it up, and then they started able to chase this. So he kind of, if he synced it up better, he could have gotten deeper with the Hellions and had more time to get into the, or fire off more on the drones. From there. So kind of a simple, only thing is he went Spire here, and if you go Spire, make sure you take your 6th gases fairly early after you drop the Spire. And he did that, I think, based on the Hellions, cleaning them up. If you tend to go a lot of Hellions, you tend to have more time, and you can get the Spire out and be able to harass on their side while scouting from there. So kind of from there. So let's go up another one here. We're going to look at Lambo here. We're going to look at game over here on Death Ore. And this to me was a phenomenal scouting game. And he actually does his build very similar to Cyril from here. So let's watch, but he does something interesting based on what he scouts. And Cyril does the same thing if you find games of it as well. There's one he did actually against Maru or Beyond that was very similar to this. So there's the 16 hatch. Pool to gas. 21, it's going to the 3rd. There's that hatchery, and then he's going to start his speed. There's the speed. Very similar to Cyril. And the queen comes out, the first one does a creep tumor. Similar to the build. The only thing they're not doing is getting Overlord scouting. Actually, Lambo usually loves it, but on this map, he doesn't use it. So here we go. So 345. We're going to look for this scout. He goes a little bit earlier. Actually, now he does. This is 3rd CC. That's a pretty good feeling with a slow Overlord. See Starport. No add-on. No add-on. Only reactor here. Means that it can't be... This is not looking like a Banshee build at all. If it is, it's going to be delayed. So let's watch, based on what Lambo scouted, let's watch what he does here. We're going to look to see how he reacts. And this is what you need to do in each replay. When you want to learn something based on scouting, for example, this Overlord scouting, let's watch how they react based on what they see of the Terran. We know this is a 1-1-1. We have 1 reactor, no tech lab, and there was something else being built, which is most likely a Liberator. Doesn't look like it can be a Banshee. Like, this is not a fake Liberator because the tech lab isn't done. It would be delayed by the time he got it. So what does Lambo do? Bam, he goes for the double evolution chamber. He's going to go for the 2nd gas to support this. So injecting. You know, he still makes the lings as you need. Because remember, this can be Hellion, or Hellbat, sorry. Hellion and the Hellbats, and there's a Liberator. He's on the 2nd gas here. Let's see when he puts down the Bangling Nest versus when he gets the layer. There's the 1-1. So now we're looking for the Bangling Nest and layer. So he's prioritized this 1-1. What we need is the Bangling Nest. Now, Hellbats can be a little bit tough to hold without the Bangling Nest here. So, Lambo did take a little bit of a risk. I feel like, there it is, the Bangling Nest. I feel like the Bangling Nest maybe need to be a little bit earlier. Let's just see what happens. And then he's going to Spore at 510, which is late, but it's okay. He's got queens. It's just, yeah. The Liberator, let's look and see. The Liberator has been, I don't know, where is it at? This Liberator is somewhere, right? There it is. So the Liberator's over here. So he timed it pretty good based on the timing of this build, with it being a Viking first. Now, if it's Liberator before Viking, he would need them spores at 430. But because it was Viking in the Liberator, it's going to be all right. It's still a little bit late, though, honestly. So this could be slightly better. Here comes the Hellions. No, he's only on Lings right now. The Bangling Nest isn't ready either. So he's going to be relying heavily on these Queens and these Lings, and this is a lot of Hellions. So Lambo's got to be careful. And he's producing a lot more Lings. Notice he has to produce more Lings because he doesn't have Banglings here. So he's going to produce the Lings. He does got to defend this, but he's setting himself up for mid-game really great because he's already started his upgrades. And the Terran is actually behind in his upgrades. So let's see it play out here. He's gonna surround, try to slow this down to get his, cut these as much as he can and give his drones time as well to split. Drones do get fried. This trade should go into Terran's favor because of the Lings, which it does, but the key here for Lambo is to hold on, and it actually doesn't go that bad. Actually, it goes better for the Zerg. So let's look at outcome. The Terran's ahead by 3 workers. But the Zerg's quite ahead in upgrades. This is going to be a nice little advantage. And the Terran traded a little bit worse as well. So yeah, let's see what happens from here, from all the scouting. So the adjustment, he's very greedy. Or he was greedy because of the lack of tech lab here near the starport. There's the Bangling speed. He really needs that. That would be something. That's the one thing that can kill Lambo. If he doesn't get his Bangling speed and he misses it, even though he's got 1-1, if he doesn't get this Bangling speed and this creep gets pushed all the way up, all of a sudden he can start falling down in the unit count if he's not careful here. But there's 1-1. Make several Lings. He's going to go across the map a little bit. I think he's trying to get a view of if anything's coming. Getting ready to jump these up here, I think. Yep. You see he's positioning here to help these jump. Once it jumps up, he's going to, yeah, move away a little bit. And he's expecting a push as well. He's kind of got these here looking for that push. But it was quite a bit of Hellion, so that push isn't really coming too soon. Good creep spread. Notice he jumps on 1-1. I'm at 2-2, sorry. 2-2 as quick as it can. And here comes the Terran. Terran now has 1-1, but so does the Zerg right now, so he's doing fine. He'd be more than happy to take an engagement. Does a Ling run by instead here? Doesn't do too great. It's fine. Cleans up the Widow Mines. Quite a bit of Terran here. Still got to be careful, even though he's ahead. When this 2-2 finishes, though, that could be a timing to attack. The Terran's a full upgrade behind him right now. Actually does a little bit of an attack. Out of position, he's going to lose this base, most likely. So now he's on 2-2 and he's willing to take a trade here, which is fine. This is on creeps, so this is kind of favorable. To position-wise of the units isn't very favorable, though, for Lambo, but see, he cleans it up pretty easily. Look at the trades. Terran's still trading a little bit better. And this kind of set Lambo up for a great mid game, right? He's on 2-2. Terran is nowhere close to 2-2 right now. The earliest he could have, usually 2-2, or with the standardish build, is around this time frame. And Lambo still had a larger 2-2. Lambo's already gone up into Hive. You know, he's going up into lurkers, and he's going to get the lurker range. He's only 9 minutes in. He's got the Hydralisk already. He's just waiting to get the stabilization of it. He's taken all the gases. That's another thing. Anytime you get in Hive Tech, you want to take all your gases as Zerg then, for sure. Splitting his army. There's that range for the lurkers getting made. Hold off over here, and then he should be making lurkers once that range is about finished, or getting close to finish. It's a massive drop coming in. This was actually a pretty good move, I feel like, by the Terran. And he finally has lurkers, and notice that the lurker range is done as well. The Terran actually didn't do bad in this game, but setting up how well Lambo had the upgrades has made a world of difference. And his creep spread's still pretty good. I feel like the Terran played well in this game. I feel like Euthermal actually played really well in this game. Even overall, like the control, the decision making, I felt like he did better as far as battles went. But what set this up was the early game. Lambo, you know, he had to make a lot of lings to defend that, and even when he did, he still traded better. He had the better upgrades. Now, Euthermal was late on his 2-2 as well. But all of this rolled on the back foot of that scouting, and Lambo being greedier, or he wouldn't have the upgrades that he has either. So I set him up to get to this lurker stage a little bit earlier as well. See the trades now. Lambo's going to lose up here, but he's across the map. Once these guys get down and they get into these weird positions right here, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough even for tanks. And here, if he produces plenty of banglings and he can catch them off guard, and maybe even 2 lurkers or something, it can make them hold this. And here we go. Banglings gets him in a great corner, gets an amazing connection, and that does the game for sure there. And Lambo, off the back foot of the scouting, set himself up to this position to basically win. So that's kind of what the adapting of scouting does. Now let me show you a game of Lambo with no scouting, actually, this game. And he made a mistake and did not scout, and I will show you. And it actually completely just destroyed him. And I think he defends this easily if he scouts. But he didn't. And I think the opponent knew it as well. So let's go over here to Lambo's view. We're going to fast forward to about 3:30. Build doesn't change. These guys, they always kind of play the same build usually. There's a small decision if they get speed before they start their third, but most of the time they'll start their third before the speed if they can get it down and it's not blocked. In this case, see the third went down. Then we're going to see speed from Lambo. There's the speed. Creep tumor from the queen that come out. And we're getting near 3:30 here. And here's where we got to start seeing a Overlord scout. So we got our only Overlord on this side of the map, and the pros seem to like to put one over there. I put 2. I put one here, and then I put one usually over here, and I float this one in. We're getting up to 345, 346, 350. Still not moving this. That's a mistake. This is a flat out mistake of, yeah, he wasn't scouting. Maybe he usually doesn't scout on this map, or he took the risk and not scouted, and usually gets Overlord speed or something on this map. But he completely doesn't scout. And here comes a Viking, so now he's for sure not going to be able to scout. It's going to push out. There's no other Overlord around here to scout. He tries to come over here. He does see the expansion, and he only seen a glimpse of a Hellion over here. And that's it. What's really going on? We got Hellions. We've got hidden marauders. If he would have scouted this and seen this, this would have gave quite a bit of tell. One, he would have knew it was an aggressive opening, even if he doesn't see the marauders. You see this would look like stem marines with hellions with a medevac coming out. That's exactly, but it's marauders, so the response would kind of be still similar, which would be you make quite a bit of lings, maybe a few banes if it's hellbats, and go from there. You're pretty much going to be defending with ling queen from there. But let's watch what Lampo actually does without knowing the scout. What does he do? He's got the bangling nest going down, which is a little bit earlier than last game. He's got the second guess. He goes in the lair. He has no clue. If he's seen this, he would not go lair. I guarantee you that. I don't think he would be going lair. Instead, he would be making more lings, probably double evolution chamber or something to that extent. Now, he does send a ling over here. What does he see with the ling? Let's take a look. Let's go back. See, he's trying desperately to get a scout. This is what pros are they're very persistent on the scouting. So he has a ling over here. He's going to try to send it in. He wants to get a scout. He wants to know what's going on. The Hellions deny it. He still doesn't know about the Marauders. The Vikings pushing it out. This looks standard too. Hellions, everything looks standard here. Here comes more Hellions. This looks like, you know, decent amount. This right here is the part that's like, oh no, he's got stuff to kill my queens. These right here are queen killers. He's got a concussive shell. He's going to slow down the queens and he's going to kill them. Lambo doesn't have nearly enough lings. His queens on top of that is away from the lings. So if Euthermal can pick up one or two of these, it's going to force these lings to fight in a position they might not even want to fight in either. So he's going to lose queens on top of the beginning. That's why he medevac boosted over here. He's waiting for them to kind of get ahead, and then he wants to drop down and slow down the queens and kill them. That's what he wants to do here. So he does. He's going to notice he's going for him. He's trying to slow him. He wants to kill that one. He's going to slow this one down because that's one of the keys in this build. He gets 2 queens. We're down to 3 queens defense. We got a few banes. We're still in trouble. It's not enough lings. We're trying to push out as many lings as we can. We're hoping that he aims for this instead of comes up here as the Zerg. And there we go. He comes up here. He's going to spread. He sees the banklings. So he's just going to spread. And we still got queens. We're in a little bit of trouble. We still don't got banglings. We got nothing, not really any kind of answer with this. Near enough units. We've lost queens. We're trying now to hold in a position that we would have really like to have all our queens to begin with. And we got this medevac. We've gotten pushed into a corner. The medevac's in a great position. We can't even get an attack on it with the queens. And the queens are going down. And ultimately, this goes straight up into a loss from simply not scouting. Was it because this strategy is so good by Euthermal? No. Actually, this is a very awkward strategy, but it's, if we look at it, there ain't much of a follow-up going into it as easily. It's expensive. There's a later third. You didn't even get to see that there was a delayed third either. This was big. Basically, Lambo was assuming that there was probably go back over here, that there was probably some sort of third base, most likely, from his opponent here. So he doesn't get no scout. He doesn't know if there's a third CC. He doesn't know that there's marauders. He doesn't know anything. He absolutely had no idea because he didn't scout with overlords. So the possibilities are quite endless. He tries to play like a standard game, as if it's like a third CC. And he ended up getting burned because it actually was never intended to be a third CC. And this is a big map. This is part of the reason why you use a speed overlord on here, because if you think about this one floating up to here, this marine's probably going to kill it before it even gets to here. This is where speed overlords are really good on a map like this. But yeah, he definitely gets punished for it. It's a good build by Euthermal. A miss by Lambo trying not to scout or trying to figure it out even with Ling. You know, he never even called it. And he tried to win with a standard, like thinking it, basically guessing it's a 3cc standard Hellion, you know, type play. And he got burned for it in this game. But guys, that does it. So take these as you can. Go find more replays. You can find them. Get an idea of how they're scouting. Definitely get the ones where they scout. This game, Lambo dies because he straight up did not get a scout in. He has no clue what's going on, and it was an interesting build by Thermal. So get them replays. Do the same thing. Look at the 4 minutes. Look at the 6 minutes when they fly an Overlord in. Look at their adjustments. What are they doing? What are they putting down? You know, the game before this, Lambo put down double evolution chamber, and then, you know, remember the starts 1-1, the Bangling Nest layer, kind of that style of play, and getting a scout. And then Cyril, you know, he played the layer every time that there was a starport. One of them he didn't get to fully scout. He still considered the possibility of there being a starport that could be swapped to a tech lab. So both of his games he played layer. Even when he didn't know, he still played layer as well. And Lambo, did he play layer? I did not catch if he played layer on here. He should have. Yeah, okay. So Lambo played layer as well. So Lambo played layer style as well, with the lack of scouting. So basically, if you think it's going to be starport with tech lab, or if you don't scout at all and you can't get the scout in, the safest bet is to go ahead and start this layer. Hey guys, that does it. Hopefully this video helps you guys out on your ZVT and kind of where to look. I'm not a major of the Zerg. I probably play Zerg at maybe a Masters 3, roughly myself, in ZVT, but I would definitely like take these, look at them, kind of get how they're adjusting, understand it a little bit more, and take this knowledge and apply it to replays, and it will give you a lot of the answers on what to take from when you're scouting with that Overlord in these builds at that 4 minute mark. And then again, to determine mech or bio, if you're unsure, you need to try to get to scouting around 6 minutes and start determining. You need to know by then which one it is and play your strategy that you feel works versus which of the two. From there, but that does it, guys. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you'd like to see me stream, you can find me at Strifix1986 on Twitch TV. See you guys in the next video. Peace.